Hey folks, I'm so happy right now because I just made a good player quit on chess.com, and his username is vks285, and this is his new rating now after I beat him. But before we played, I think his rating was 1,450 something. So once again, just like when I beat Math 37, I think his name was Maths 37. I beat this guy, and this is another 1,400 rated player that I beat. So I've been beating a lot of guys who are rated like 300 and 400 points above me. Guys that are like 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. So it's always a good thing to beat players who are better than you, but especially players who are supposedly a lot better than you. Players who have ratings that are way higher than yours, like 1,300 plus. So anytime I beat a guy that's 1,100, I feel good because they're on the same level as me. But when I beat a guy that's 200 and more, I feel very good. So I got to show y'all this game. I made him quit. I moved my pawn to d4. He moved his pawn to d5, and this guy was going to be a challenge because he was rated 1,450 something, so he wasn't a bum, definitely. He threatened my pawn there on d4, so I gave that pawn protection by moving my pawn up to e3. He already had protection from the knight on f3, and I put him into check. He moves his knight down to protect his king, and now I'm taking control of the center part of the board. Moves his bishop out. I castle early. These are basic things that I learned that really improved my game. I would never beat guys that were rated 1,400, just a few months ago. Not even guys that were rated in the thousands. On chess.com, when I would play a guy that was rated in the thousands, it was a guaranteed loss. The only guys that I was able to beat was guys that were 7, maybe 800 and below. And you don't really find that many guys on chess.com rated that low. So I was basically a bum, an easy target that everybody was just beating on until I, learned the basic fundamentals of the game. Bringing your pawns out, controlling the center part of the board, developing your pieces, develop knights before bishops, castling early, protecting your pieces, thinking 6 moves ahead. And since I've been doing that, I've been on a road just dominating dudes. As I'm talking, you guys can see the moves that were made. Okay. So I think we was even throughout the game when it comes to points. Okay, now here I was going to take his pawn. I didn't even care if he took the rook with my queen, but he thought about that, and I had to laugh because he's pretty smart. He didn't fall for that because it would have been pretty much like I would have been basically checkmating him. If he had took my, let me see, move back. Okay, he took my pawn. I took his pawn. If he had took my rook, then I would have took his bishop with my pawn. That would have been check. And then I would have moved my black bishop down here on c1, and then my rook right here on f1, and then my white bishop here on f3, and then my queen here on d1. That all would have been basically a checkmate, because once I put a dude in check, I never let him go. I keep him in check as long as I can and try to form a checkmate, and that would have been a checkmate up there. I think I would have been able to get a checkmate or really do some major damage because his queen is like out of reach. So he takes the pawn. And I move my rook out the way now. And he can't really do anything because all my pieces are pretty much protected. He moves his rook over to d8. And I move my queen out the way. He moves his pawn down, and that is exactly what I needed him to do. Move my bishop up, get him into check. Now he has to move down. And I'm threatening his rook. He decides to exchange rooks. That's exactly, he's doing everything that I need him to do, because the more pieces that he give up, the easier it would be for me to checkmate this dude. And he's allowing me, giving me more room to move around the board. The less pieces that's on the board, I can do more. So he moves his pawn down, and I move my bishop up, put him into check again. He protects it with the pawn. And I just move my bishop back. And I need to get my queen to this black square right here on d6. He moves his king over. So I threaten that bishop. He decides to take it. And this is where it all just fell apart for him. Check. Put him into check again. And I moved my queen up because now I want to attack this white square here on g6, I believe that is. He moves his queen up. I don't know why he did that. There was no point in doing that, because now I got him in check, and it's about to be a checkmate pretty soon. He moves his bishop down, but now his bishop has to stay there. I'm basically pinning his bishop down. Somebody's calling me. Let me call you right back. Okay, that was my friend. Sorry for the interruption, guys. He knows I do chess videos. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I got his bishop pinned down now. His bishop can't move, because if his bishop moved, he'd be moving into check. So what I do is I slide my rook over, and that's checkmate. There's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can really do. The game is going to be over soon. As you can see, he moved his queen up. I moved my rook all the way up. Check. And before he made that move right here, guys, he had me waiting for about 5 whole minutes. And we were playing a 20-minute game, because he knew he was fucked. He knew it was over. So he took that rook. And you don't got no queen on the board. I got more pawns and a bishop. All you got is a bishop and a rook, and y'all crunched up in the corner. Game over. This is how it played out. Check. And he actually gave me a run for my money towards the end. He made it a little hard. But see, what he was trying to do was get a checkmate right there. You see that checkmate? All he had to do was bring that rook all the way down to d1, and it would have been checkmate, because I can't move my king nowhere. I seen that. That's why you're supposed to never let your guard down, even though, because a lot of amateur players, they would just be trying to take his pawns and not see that he could get a checkmate with that rook and that black bishop. So I move my pawns up so he can't get a checkmate. There's nothing he can do. I move my pawn up, threaten his rook. He's seen that, so after he made that bad move right there, that blunder, he realized that it was over. He fucked up. Because I was getting ready to take that rook, and it would have been checkmate in a few moves. So I just wanted to show you guys that, and hope you enjoyed the game. Peace.